In this segment, we'll talk about mail ordering your chicks. There are a lot of resources out there, so take your time and make sure that you've read about the characteristics of the breed that you're interested in so you truly understand what its needs will be. Bantam chicks will take up less space and eat less food, so if you have limited resources, they're a great choice and there are lots of different breeds available. Larger chickens, of course, will lay the full-size eggs, but will eat more food and require larger space for keeping. We'll start this February with Bantam chicks. We're going to use dark Brahmas, and we're also going to get Partridge Rocks, and I'll show you how to brood them. You also want to make sure that you put your order in early. Some hatcheries will sell out of the breed that you're interested in, and then you'll be disappointed and have to take another choice. I recommend that you make your choice early and go ahead and start your birds in February or March, as long as you have an appropriate enclosure. Maybe you can keep them in the basement, but consider family members that may have allergies, and also consider family pets and your ability to keep them safe from those pets. Now let's look at how to order through a catalog. If you have an interest in learning about rare or endangered breeds of livestock, and in this case chickens, you may consider joining an organization like the American Livestock Breeds Conservancy. Although they deal with all aspects of livestock, they have great portions on chickens and poultry. There are lots of catalog sources. Metzger Farms submits a catalog every year. Smith Poultry and Supplies comes every year in a publication that I subscribe to called the Poultry Press. If you want to learn about what's going on in poultry shows and who's got champion livestock, the Poultry Press is a great resource. You can subscribe to this publication and keep up to date with information about chicken diseases, chicken issues. People share their experience with specific breeds, and a lot of breeders list their stock for sale here, and you could get hatching eggs and in some cases live chicks through the breeders, and you'll know it comes from champion stock. Murray McMurray has a great selection of rare breeds, and each bird that they sell, they show pictures of the adult and how the chicks will look when they arrive. They also give a brief description of each breed of chick and how they sell it. Notice that when they list the breeds, and in this case the black silkies, they give the shipping time frame that you can receive them. They only ship their chicks once a week, so you have to pick the week that you hope to receive your chicks and when you'll be prepared to raise them. You'll also notice that it says straight run only, and they're $3.25 each. Straight run only means they won't sex the chicks and send you just hens or cockerels. They will send male and female together, and it's up to you to figure out which they are later as they develop. Most Bantam chicks are so small, sexing them is a challenge. When you're ordering live chicks through the mail, the minimum order is 25. We're going to order, in this case, dark Brahma Bantam chicks, and we're going to pick 10 of those. And then we'll order 15 of another variety later. They'll come straight run, so they'll be male and female, and we don't know, but the percentage could be roughly 50%. And I've chosen to have them shipped in February at the end of the month. I'm also ordering 15 Partridge Rocks, $3.01 each, and they'll be shipped between January and July. They'll come combined with the other dark Brahmas, which will be at the end of February. Take your time, look at all the breeds, and make sure you've studied and understand the different characteristics of the breed you've chosen. Bantams, as these are, take up less space and will require fewer resources. It's also a great bird to start with children. You'll notice that when you look at the heavier large breeds, that you have more purchasing opportunities as far as male and female. You can pick straight run, which means a mix of male and female. They're only $1.89 each. If you want just females or hens, then they're $2.36 a piece. Males are $1.17. And this way you can build a flock and you'll know what the different distributions will be as far as cockerels to hens. If you decide to order from an online catalog, and in this case again it's from the Murray McMurray catalog, there are some things to consider when purchasing the birds. Number one, you have a minimum order of 25 chicks, and that's to guarantee their survival and shipment. They need to rely on one another for body warmth. Now, the other thing is, you have to consider whether you want vaccines. I recommend that you select the vaccines. In this case, for Marek's disease, a vaccine for coccidiosis. Quick Chick I've never used, and Broiler Booster I've also never used. I just start them on a good diet when they get here. But the vaccines are well worth the money. They're 12 cents a piece. And it will eliminate the need for you to start them on medicated feed, which I don't personally like to use. When your order's complete, in this case, here's my order. We ordered the Partridge Rocks, straight run again because they're Bantams and it's difficult to sex those, so there were no other options. Dark Brahma Bantams also. We ordered 10 of the Dark Brahmas. We ordered 15 of the Partridge Rocks. Ordered the vaccine for Marek's disease, baby chicks only, okay, and Palorum certificate, which I need because I'm an NPIP farm. And in order to guarantee your certificate as an NPIP farm, you must purchase your stock also from an NPIP participant. So the subtotal is $79.45, shipping and handling is $12.50, and so I spent $91.95 for 25 guaranteed live chicks. If any chicks arrive dead, Murray McMurray will replace the funding for that. They won't ship, of course, a single chick to replace the loss. So even though it's late January now, I requested my delivery date to be the week of February 13th of 2006. While you're waiting for your chicks to arrive, if you've decided to buy them live, then take some time to really study and learn about the different breeds and their characteristics and what their needs will be. Chickens in Your Backyard is a great beginner's guide. If you have children and people that are just starting out, this is a great resource. It's a paperback book. Lots of great experiences in here, and will help you think ahead. Living with Chickens is another great book that I recommend. It's a nice hardback volume. It deals mostly with chickens in the Northeast and some of their living conditions. If you want to get deep into the history of a chicken, I recommend The Chicken Book by Paige Smith and Charles Daniel. They go into the history of chickens in cultural societies around the world, and they talk about early incubation as far back as the Egyptians. The Complete Encyclopedia of Chickens, although this book is hard to find now, is a great hardbound volume, and it's just full of pictures and breed traits throughout. I recommend this book. If you want to get more into the scientific end of things, I recommend buying a college text, something similar to this, Poultry Science. This is the 4th edition, and this really gets into the detailed science of embryology and just about anything you want to know about the poultry industry today. You can often find old school textbooks and books that are out of print just by going online and doing internet search. If you just punch in the topic, or if you put in the ISBN number, which is found in every book, let's say you found a library book but you'd like to get your own copy, do a search online. You might be surprised how cheaply you can get one of these. If you want to know about the National Poultry Improvement Plan, you can get publications like this which describe all of its requirements. Even a small-scale flock can participate in this plan and end up testing and certifying the health of your birds. If you want to know if a flock that you're considering buying chicks from is in the National Poultry Improvement Plan, there's a national directory, and you'll find the flock owner's name, and they'll be registered, and it shows the type of breeds that they offer. Every state in the United States has their membership listed in this volume, and there's an online directory as well if you just do a search for the National Poultry Improvement Plan. Now we have to talk about housing your chickens. Now, not everyone wants to build a permanent structure, and in some cases, free ranging is not an option either. You may live on a smaller plot, and you may have neighbors nearby that wouldn't appreciate chickens rooting through their gardens and scratching up their plants. One of the solutions for something like that is to build a portable chicken coop. This portable coop has an open floor and allows you to move the chickens to specific areas. It's complete with a nesting box and a place for the chickens to sleep at night. So let's go over some of the features of a portable coop. Keep in mind there's an infinite number of varieties that are available. You can buy them prefabricated through mail order, or you can design and build your own, like this one here was just of my own design, and it's heavy enough to withstand heavy winds, but light enough that you can actually move it around. Children, of course, wouldn't be able to move it by themselves, but a single adult could feasibly do it. When it comes to building your own portable chicken coop, try not to get too fancy. Keep it basic and keep it fairly lightweight. If you get carried away and build too many amenities onto the coop, you'll end up with something so heavy that you just can't move it around. It's a great way to till a garden as well, and I recommend a book that's called The Chicken Tractor, which talks about portable coops, portable pens, and using them to tend the soil that you're going to garden in later. Let's go over some of the features of this portable coop. Remember, when you're designing your portable coop or even a permanent coop, make the dimensions suitable for an adult to access everything that you're going to have to do in the coop. If you make it too small, you'll be bent over all the time, and you'll have to carry maybe a 50-pound bag of feed in to fill feeders, and you'll also be hauling water in and out. So consider that when you're thinking about the dimensions of your coop. This particular one is 6 feet tall, it's 7 feet long, and it's only 3 feet wide. I limited the width of the coop to 3 feet because the extensions of these middle bars are actually the handles that we use to lift it and roll it to a new location after every few days. The door is an easy screen door. You just turn the wood, pull it open, and then let's go over some of the features inside. Having a portable coop with an open bottom is so much better than just having a penned-in area that your chickens use each and every day. The portable coop will not allow the chickens to wear out the soil underneath or to eat all the grass and defoliate that area. Soil that's constantly tread upon by chickens and constantly contributed to with their waste material becomes toxic over time, and you either have to rotate your chickens to a new paddock or make a new pen altogether. A portable chicken coop allows you to continually move your entire chicken coop, their nest box, and all their resources with them, so you never wear out the soil, and your chickens don't free range, so they're not going to bother your neighbors or your pets, and they also will be protected from things like stray dogs and cats as they grow. This coop is designed dimensionally really to accommodate only Bantam chickens. Standard full-size chickens may need a larger habitat than this. So this one is for about 5 bantams, 1 rooster, and 4 hens. Now the portable coop like this, although it is completely enclosed except for the bottom so that your chickens can scratch the soil and eat bugs and eat greens, the enclosure does not really protect them from predators at night. Weasels and smaller predators could actually come through different openings in this. So just like a regular chicken coop, they need to have a secure location for the night. And this nest box area here, which is also their perch and roosting area, provides them protection through the night. So if a predator got through this screen or wire wall, or even came underneath the coop at night, your chickens will still be safe inside, and you should close it just as you would any other chicken coop to protect them. They have a ramp that goes all the way down, and it's secured at both ends to the coop itself so it doesn't rest on the ground, so when you move it, it all moves together. And your chickens can freely go in and out of this coop box during the day. When you're introducing your chickens to the coop that they're going to stay in, whether it's portable like this one or if it's a permanent coop, always start the chickens inside. Don't just turn them loose out here, expect them to find the hole and consider this home. By starting them inside and keeping them inside overnight, then they know that this is their home. By suspending your feeder and drinker from a chain, you're also making sure that they hang level, no matter what the surface is that you're going to park your portable coop on. When the chickens go to bed at night, you want to elevate the feeder and keep it up and out of the way. So with a chain and a hook, all you have to do is pull the drinker and the feeder up and hook it in the overhead underneath the nest box. This way it's out of the way of predators, mice, and other things that will run around at night and try to take advantage of the feed that your chickens have and that they may spill on the ground. It's smart each day or every couple of days to move the portable coop to brand new soil so things don't have a chance to get rancid. As you can see, the side on this portable coop is hinged so that it can be swung open, and you'll have access as a coop tender to the inside of this nesting box, which is also where the chickens roost at night. Now when you're having a box like this, you need to think about it in terms of how are you going to clean it later. So make sure that perches, and in this case the perches are just set in place, make sure that they're removable so that you can clean out the substrate here. I like to litter raise my chickens, so there is no droppings pit. We just put wood shavings in and let it stay there until it mixes up with the chicken waste. Then of course we put that in the garden. So you can see also that there's a nest box inside, and this is sized for a bantam. This next box is 12 inches by 12 inches by 14 inches high. And it has a slanted roof, so you could also take it out, put it on the grass, and leave it outside if the weather's warm. And this is the inside view showing the pop hole for the chicken. Now let's say you want to provide some additional perches inside your portable coop during the day, and you want to make it easy to pull them out when you're going to service the coop. All you have to do is take pieces of 1x2 wood, round off the top so that it's nice for perching on for the bird's feet, and because it's also 1x2 cage wire here, we just slide it through the openings. And because this coop is 3 feet wide, we only have to make the perches 4 feet wide. Bits of the perch stick out on either side, and then you just take a regular spike that you can get at the hardware store and slide it through a hole that you drill, and that will keep it from pulling through and falling down on the birds when they're inside. Then when you need to service the coop, you just pull the spikes out, which are all the perch, and now you have free access, plus you can clean and sanitize these perches when you're doing the rest of the coop. And when the removable perches are not being used, I simply store them in the overhead on the coop itself, and that keeps them with me. Anytime I want to change them and move them back down, I just pull them out, drop the spikes in, and set them at whatever height I feel is necessary for the birds that are staying in the coop. Now these wheels are located at just one end of the coop, so we lift the whole thing up and move it like a wheelbarrow. My personal preference is not to use pneumatic or air-filled tires, but rather use the solid rubber tires. Inevitably, when you go to use air-filled tires, one will be flat, and then you've got a problem. So these are solid rubber tires, and they're just run through 2x4s that extend the entire length of the chicken coop. The 2x4s, again, are 8 feet long at the bottom, but the coop itself is only 7 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 6 feet tall. The chicken access ramp to the door is secured with nails and glue at the top, and then we follow it all the way down. It goes to the lead board, which is also at the bottom of the doorway that people walk through. So no part of it rests on the ground. And this is how the portable coop looks from the end where the wheels are located. You can see that we have a window at the top of this 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot box. And also you can see how the roof looks. It's 3/8 inch thick material, and it's arched 4 feet by 8 feet long, and it just covers the coop from one end to the other. And the rest is 2x4 material and then 1x10s at each end, which gives it some kind of structural support. The entire thing is finished with exterior wood stain. Before we talk about the design elements of a chicken coop, let's talk about where you're going to locate it. Putting a chicken coop, for example, right next to the woods or in a heavily wooded or treed area like this is pretty much a bad idea. So if you had the option of putting it out in the open, I recommend that. Predators inhabit the woods and hunt the perimeter of the woods frequently. So if you put a chicken coop there, you're actually ringing the dinner bell for wildlife. This is an example of a desirable location for your chicken coop. Notice that the ground slopes, that it's high on the right and low on the left. This is critical if we're thinking about areas where rain may pool or stand. We want the area that your coop is built upon to be dry and for water to run through and dry off quickly after a heavy rain. Ventilation in a chicken coop is critical, and air movement on some of the hottest portions of the summer may not be enough to keep your birds cool. Here's an example of how I've attached solar-powered exhaust vents to the top of a chicken coop. You want to ventilate the coop, but you want to keep it draft-free. Heavy drafts in a coop during winter would be a huge detriment to your birds. One of the first considerations when you're thinking about building your own chicken coop is the physical size. This coop we're looking at now is 8 feet by 8 feet, which provides 64 square feet of floor space for the chickens. The general rule of thumb is that you need 4 square feet per bird. So this coop's suitable for 16 full-grown standard chickens. Even though it's a free-range situation, which may allow some people to have more birds in a smaller habitat, I have to consider the winter weather and the fact that these birds will be inside for large sections of the year. So when you're planning the size of your coop, make sure you understand how many hens or roosters you're going to be keeping in the future and make it large enough to accommodate them comfortably. When birds are concentrated in great numbers in a small space, they suffer stress, they may get sick early, and may even attack one another and pull each other's feathers out. That's something we want to avoid. You also may notice that each of my chicken coops are elevated well off the ground. This prevents mice and other vermin from taking up residence underneath the coops. It also provides a place for the chickens to dash under if there were a hawk, for example, or a sudden rainstorm. In the middle of the summer, they can also find shade underneath. Keep in mind that you need to be able to reach under there and possibly retrieve a dead bird or a sick bird. Notice also that there's a concrete pad in front of the doorway. Places that you're going to step often will become a muddy mess, for example, in the spring. So take into consideration the weather conditions in your area, and high traffic areas should have some protection, otherwise you'll just have a big muddy mess. One of the reasons that you have a chicken coop is to provide physical security. Aside from giving the chickens shelter from the weather, from the cold, and from the wind, you need to have strong doors that secure with latches. This prevents entry by predators like raccoons or possums or weasels. So think in terms of what may be trying to get into the coop at night when the doors are closed. The chickens return on their own to the chicken coop and don't require any guidance for that. Each coop will also need a door that people can go in and out of. Make sure the door is big enough that it's comfortable for you. You'll be carrying things in and out and you don't want to be bent over. Windows are another essential part of the chicken coop. They need light from the outside to help stimulate them so that they'll lay eggs. A chicken needs roughly 14 hours of daylight to lay eggs. Here we have the interior of the small 8-foot by 8-foot coop. Remember that it accommodates 16 chickens. You'll notice that the floor is covered with pine shavings. This is what's called litter raised. The pine shavings serve a number of purposes. One, they absorb the moisture from the waste material that the chickens generate, and number two, it serves us well in the garden as a mulch or an amendment to the soil. You want to keep your substrate thick on the floor, so that when chickens are jumping down from their high perches, especially the heavier birds, they won't injure their feet when they drop down onto the floor. Every chicken coop needs to be self-contained for the birds. That includes fresh water and a place to feed and nest boxes. This particular drinker holds 5 gallons of water. Now, even if the chickens don't use it up, it's critical that you change the water at least every other day. Clean out the drinker and fill it with fresh water, even if they don't use it up. You'll notice that I have cage wire circling the top of it. This prevents chickens from sitting on top and soiling the water itself. It's easy to just slide off, change the water. The other thing is that the base here is not just ornamental, it has a heating element in it, and it's on a thermostat, so when the weather gets really cold, it prevents the drinking water from freezing for the birds. So it heats up automatically and keeps it at a temperature above freezing so the birds can drink. Birds don't do well drinking really cold water, especially when the weather's cold as it gets here in the teens. Every chicken coop, aside from having food and water, requires nesting material and nest boxes for them to lay their eggs in. You need 1 nest box for every 4 hens. The nest boxes should be low enough for your chickens to get up to them easily, but not so low that while walking around they look in and see that there are eggs there. In some cases, this may start the chickens out of boredom to eat the eggs in the box, so I keep them elevated above eye level of the birds. Now, one of the ways I get the chickens to lay their eggs in the box itself rather than just dropping them around on the floor is I put a decoy egg in. Now, decoy eggs come made out of a lot of different things. You can have them made out of concrete, stone, ceramics, and in this case, wood. The wooden egg I've found has a weight and a sensation most similar to the actual egg itself. If you put in a stone egg, for example, in the dead of winter, the stone gets so cold that it's uncomfortable for the chicken to set on. So by putting a wooden egg in, the chicken comes by and sees it in the nest and assumes that it is a real egg, and then she feels that it's safe to lay her own eggs next to it. If every egg disappeared each time you collected from the boxes, the chickens would think that they're being destroyed and would just search out another place in which to lay. Now these are wooden decoy eggs in place in the nesting box. Remember, it's important that you put something like diatomaceous earth in with the litter in the box to protect your chickens from parasites while they sit. Each coop, as I mentioned before, needs to have its own feed bin. This large metal bin, for example, will hold 100 pounds of feed. I usually only pour in 50 pounds at a time, and the trough is wide enough to allow several chickens to eat together. If you make a small eating area, then some of the larger or more dominant chickens can actually keep others off the feed. Now this coop is much larger. It's 8 feet by 16 feet, and therefore it can hold 32 chickens. Now, again, it has a latching door, it has windows that open so that we can have ventilation on a hot day, and it has a door suitable for people at one end. It's also elevated off the ground, as I said before, to prevent vermin from setting up housekeeping, and also to allow chickens some safe haven during the day. Now, one of the traits that I'd like you to notice about this particular coop, it's nice and long, and notice that we've put the hen access door, or the pop hole, at this end of the coop, and we've put the nest boxes at the far end. That's intentional. We want each chicken to spend as much time walking across the dry litter on their way to the nest box as possible. This way, their feet are nice, clean, and dry by the time they get into the nest box, and they won't be soiling their eggs. This coop also has a large metal feeder that can hold a couple 100 pounds of feed, and it has long perches that are nice and low to the ground. This is a good design for very heavy birds, and originally I had cochins in this coop. One of the problems with this chicken coop is it's only 4 feet tall at the back, and it's 6 feet tall at the front, which means that when you're servicing the coop, you're bent over all the time. That's not a good thing, and I wouldn't repeat this design simply because of the low ceiling. There are some other things to think about when you're building your chicken coop. Make sure that the walls are sealed and airtight and prevent drafts. You need to have a soffit region that allows air to flow, or the air inside will get stale rather than be dry. Chicken health is really the most important thing here, and as long as they're out of a draft, they'll be okay even on the coldest days, unless you have a breed of bird that really can't tolerate cold temperatures, and then you should pick your breed according to that. I don't put double walls up in my coops. I leave them open and just the exterior sheathing is here, because I find that having a double wall just provides an area for mice and other vermin to build nests, and I wouldn't even know about it because those would become inaccessible areas. I don't put insulation on the walls either, because chickens eat insulation. You may notice that the overhead here has regular household insulation, and the areas where the chickens may be able to reach when they're on their perch, I have metal flashing up here, and that prevents them from picking at and from eating the fiberglass insulation. So by insulating the ceiling, we cut down on some of the noise that comes from the coop as well, and it insulates them from the high heat in the summer, and then again from the cold in the winter that's generated through the roof. Another thing I'd like you to notice is that I've put in lights in my chicken coops. There are 2 sources of lighting here, as all my chickens are wired with electricity. One is a light that's on a timer, and it's fluorescent. It's a fluorescent light that's designed to be outside. Some fluorescent bulbs won't even activate if it's below freezing. Being on the timer allows me to make sure that these lights come on and give my chickens 14 hours of daylight a day. If you want your chickens to lay eggs throughout the year, you're going to have lights on a timer, because as the days shorten, it's natural for the chicken to go off laying and do nothing basically as far as egg production goes throughout the year, and they'll be eating your feed and producing nothing in return. So by putting artificial lighting in the coop, and the bulb doesn't have to be bright, this particular one only uses 15 watts,
and as a fluorescent it generates much more light than a normal 15-watt incandescent bulb would. This keeps the birds on a stable cycle of light and dark, and I'm assured that I'll get eggs throughout the year. Another thing I'd like to point out about a chicken coop feature is that you need to have a pop hole for your hen door that can latch well. Raccoons and things like that will fiddle with latches and opening devices, so you need to make sure that it's nice and secure. Now in the mornings when you're opening up your hen door, there should be another receiver for the latch in the open position. This makes sure that wind doesn't come along and slam the door shut during the day when you aren't here, and then the chickens may or may not have access to water or food unless you provide that outside the coop. So make sure you have a latch to hold it shut and another latch to hold it open that can't be blown closed by the wind. Now the coop behind me accommodates 40 full-size standard birds. It's 8 feet wide and it's 20 feet long, so that gives adequate floor space at 4 square feet per bird throughout the year for 40. Again, even though they're free range, we want to make sure and provide plenty of adequate space inside, which reduces stress on the birds. Now you notice that I have a little variation on this particular hen door and how it gets locked open. All I do is drop a spike through the rain shield here. Once the door is in the open position, you drop it down and it keeps the wind from blowing it shut during the day. So really it can be as basic as you want it to be, so long as it serves the same purpose. And we have another locking device here that latches, and if I want to give it extra security, I just slide a nail through here. You can even put a padlock on latches like this if you feel that's necessary. Now notice on the ramps you have a lot of different options also. The only thing you have to do is provide something secure enough that the chickens can go up and down the ramp without sliding or hurting themselves. In this case, all I've done is cut up sections of an old garden hose and screwed them with stainless steel screws to a wooden plank. And this is the best one that I have as far as the chickens go, and it works out very well. Now when it comes to the interior finishing of your chicken coops, remember it's all for the birds. So anything that you can put in here that makes it more interesting or entertaining for them, I recommend that you do it. Keep things off the floor as much as possible so you have access when it comes time to clean. You can see that I have a 12-foot long maple branch here suspended from the ceiling. The chickens like to perch on this, and I like to think that it gives some of the same motion that a tree branch in the wind would give. The birds all line up on it, and as another one jumps, then it moves it again and they all end up swinging and holding their balance. I think it provides interesting exercise, and the chickens seem to really enjoy it. I recommend that you set up a number of perches at various heights throughout the coop so that the birds can pick their own comfort zone. Some of my chickens like to jump and sit right in the windows. Others fly all the way to the top, which is 8 feet, and they nest in the rafters at night. Remember that this coop has a capacity for 40 birds, so it has 10 nest boxes, one for every 4 hens. And the nest boxes are high enough off the ground, again, remember, to keep them out of normal line of sight of the birds just roaming through the coop, but yet not so high that the birds can't easily fly to the lower perches and then up to the next one so that they can access the box that they want. Each hen, you'll find out, picks a favorite box and they use it over and over. Now if you're going to store feed inside your chicken coop, and I do because I don't like to haul 50-pound bags every day, if you're going to store it inside the coop, make sure you use a metal bin, not plastic and not wood. If rodents were to gain access to your coop, they could easily chew through a plastic bin. Now another thing you may consider having inside the coop is a caged area that's mounted to the wall that's off the floor so it's not occupying valuable floor space in the coop. But where you could take a bird that was injured, for example, and keeping it in the company of the other chickens in line of sight, you could still set it aside in a cage like this and protect it from the other birds. And it's a convenient place because it's out of the weather, and you can provide separate food and water. In this case right now I have guinea keats in here, as we raise lavender and pearl guineas as well. One of the best ways to keep your chickens tame is hand feeding them. visitors and children enjoy feeding chickens, and if you establish that early on that they can come to people for food, then they'll look forward to your visits. Even the most skittish birds can be tamed by hand feeding. In this segment, we'll talk about different types of feed and how best to use it. When chickens are not outside ranging, they need a balanced diet available. It's your job to provide the best possible diet. Don't skip when it comes to buying your feed. Don't look for the lowest price. Look at the contents of the feed, talk with the salespeople, and make sure you understand fully where these nutrients are coming from. Okay, so here are some feed options. Of course, when we start the birds, we use crumbles or mash, and this is the crumble. And then we go as they grow to the grower finisher portion, which is available in pellet form and is also available in crumbles. I prefer the pellet form. And as the birds get older, or in the winter time, you have to have an adult bird ration, which is a layer ration. A laying hen can have a number of supplements. For example, what I've shown here are some pieces of oyster shell. Oyster shell will help build the calcium level in a hen that's laying eggs, because obviously there's a great calcium loss when she produces an egg shell. Do not make calcium available, however, to younger or developing birds, as it may damage their organs. They're not prepared. So after they've laid their first egg, we can go to a layer ration, which has calcium in it, and you can offer calcium also as a supplement on the side in the form of these crushed oyster shells. Now, one of the things when you have young chicks and they're starting to eat bits of their bedding and things like that, they need to be able to break them down. So you can also put in with your chicks or birds at any stage of development, you can put these granite chunks. It's sold here under something called granite grit or granny grit. It's little tiny pieces of granite that they put in their crop, and then it goes to their gizzard where their food is ground up. And if they've been eating little bits of wood shavings and things like that, chunks of granite will help grind that up. It really has no nutritional value. The other thing that we have, and I've used it before as a parasitic control, is this diatomaceous earth. Remember that diatomaceous earth is a silica and can also be a respiratory problem if you're going to breathe it in. So it should be handled carefully, and I recommend that you wear a respirator when you're using it. You can take diatomaceous earth and put it in your feeders with the chicken feed, regardless of what form you're using, and it will serve to absorb moisture and prevent that feed from spoiling due to high humidity levels and things like that. Also, if a chicken eats diatomaceous earth along with their food, then it helps to rid them of internal parasites as well, exactly the same way that it rids them of external parasites. External parasites are defeated with diatomaceous earth because it lacerates their exoskeleton and draws moisture out of them. So we have oyster shells, which should not be fed unless they are at the laying stage. We have cracked corn, which is a great energy resource but can serve to make your birds fat. It also helps them generate heat, though, if you have, for example, a broody hen who's trying to hatch eggs. And the pellet form, which makes sure that they get the full complement of the feed ration and they don't get to pick and choose. The crumbles, which allow them to pick and choose and are available in any formulation, whether it's for a starter chick, a grower, a finisher, or even a laying ration. Now, in the wintertime, when they're kept inside the coop, you may want to go to this crumble form because the crumbles give the chicken more time to feed. When they come and gobble up these pellets, of course, they eat a lot of food in a very short amount of time. Also, if you're going to throw food on the ground, which I really don't recommend, but if you want the birds to be able to find it easily and pick it up because maybe you have young visitors that just want to feed the chickens, throw the pellets out, because pellets are easy for the birds to pick out in the grass, and they'll make sure to clean it all up, and you won't be leaving anything for night predators or for other wild birds to come and feed. So remember, the granite grit is also used to help grind up their food, which isn't necessary. I mean, when they have a formulated feed, it's already ground, so just the water will soften it up, and they can digest that just fine. The reason that you're giving them granite grit is for the parts that they eat that may be indigestible and things they may find on range, or even when young chickens eat their bedding. Now, chickens on open range are omnivorous, which means they eat both plant and animal matter.
Even little reptiles like this northern brown snake would be prey for a chicken if they caught the movement. They would run it down and eat it. Environmental health is really important, and small reptiles like this northern brown snake are indicators of good environmental health. If we were using pesticides, for example, the food chain of this little guy would be disrupted and would be toxic, and then these guys would be absent from the environment. So even though I'm not going to let the chickens find this guy, you should know that they eat mice. Surprisingly, they eat frogs and other amphibians as well. The presence of reptiles like this little brown snake are important indicators of environmental health. If we were using pesticides, for example, their food source would become toxic, and delicate reptiles like this one wouldn't exist. So, Kurt, you've been raising poultry for how many years now?
Since I was 8 years old, I've been raising poultry. Started when I was 8 years old, showing at the Crawford County Fair.
Okay.
It's been about 46 years now that I've been showing. And had a lot of different varieties of poultry and waterfowl throughout my history. And I've basically settled on the Leghorns, are my favorite breed, and I specialize in all different varieties of large and bantam Leghorns.
Okay. Now, so how old would you say you were when you started showing birds? When you first raised your own chickens, how old were you?
Probably 10 or 12 when I was actually collecting eggs and helping with incubation and things of that sort.
And who were you helping?
Dad and Mom.
So did your father also show birds?
Dad and Mother all showed birds and
Okay.
have shown for many, many years also.
Now, do you live now where you did with your parents? Is this the same farm, or?
We've always lived in Cochrane. We've been in a couple different locations, but this location we've been here about for almost 40 years.
Okay. And Leghorns are your focus?
That and waterfowl, yes.
That and
Several
waterfowl.
different breeds of waterfowl, yes.
Okay. And what we have in the cages here are these are standard Leghorns or full-size Leghorns?
These are what they call large fowl Leghorns. These are a couple different varieties here. These are male birds with the extra long tails and the saddle feathers and things of that sort, which differentiates them from the females. They also have larger heads and combs and things of that sort. This, of course, is a rose comb. On this particular variety of chicken is a rose comb white leghorn. This is an example of a single comb on a buff leghorn. These are both show birds that are in show condition at this point, and they certainly are showing themselves quite well at this point.
Okay. Would you mind taking one out and going over some of the traits of a leghorn?
Well, some of the things that you need is to have your bird somewhat coop trained. With leghorns, because they're a very stylish bird, you want to be sure that you don't get them too calm so that they just stand or sit in the cage and don't really perform for the judge in essence. But this is a single comb buff leghorn. Notice the points on his comb, things of that sort. One of the things that makes him an outstanding bird is the fact that he has a nice even buff color that carries through his sickle feathers all the way through the back. Some of the faults, sometimes they have a little bit of white in them and things of that sort. This male bird is several years old and is starting to get some spurs. His spurs have been trimmed off for showing, things of that sort. They also have leg bands on them, which helps me identify what breed pens they come from. Also identification for testing through the state. There's a band on for that reason too. When you're looking over the bird for quality, you want to make sure that their feathers are not broken, that the wing feathers are all in, and you want to check those carefully on both sides. Sometimes they get broken off, sometimes they are chewed up or something of that sort from being in the breed pen and things of that sort. These are the long saddle feathers here with the points on them. That indicates the male, at least in this particular breed and variety of chicken. These are the earlobes up here. They should have a nice, clean, soft texture to them. And basically that's part of the different things about the coloration and things of that sort. More importantly than the color of the bird is the way they stand and the way they show in the cage. You want them to present themselves well to the judge. In this case, you want a nice sweeping back line on the bird, and then to stand up so that they can see their true character and their true type of the leghorn breed.
Great.
This is a rose comb white leghorn, also a large fowl. It's best if you can get in the cage and bring the bird out head first whenever you're handling the bird. Some birds are more flighty than others, but if you can, when you're handling the bird, it's best to bring them out head first out of the cage. This male has an extremely long tail, beautiful long saddle feathers here. You can get them a little bit too long. Perhaps one of his faults is maybe these could be a little bit shorter on that. Once again, you want to look at the wing condition and see how the wing condition is in all the different areas. This male is probably a younger bird, doesn't have as many bands on him as the other male that we looked at. This is an example of the rose comb. It is a flatter, wider thing with some little bumps on it. It has this long leader on the back that goes along with it. And once again, the type is worth more importance in the way they stand and their body station and things of that sort. But these are an example of the rose comb white leghorn. Normally this bird would be shown in what they would call a double coop so that he can present himself better. He would have a double coop that he would be able to walk around and show better than in a small coop like this.
Is it important that when they're shown that they be shown with the female of the same breed?
Not necessarily, no. It's really they're judged on their quality. Being shown with the female or males has no bearing on their outcome.
Is there a competition where they're shown as trios, for example, where the group makes a difference?
Yes, they can be shown in trios. That would be a case where you would have a male and two females, all the same breed and variety. The males worth 50% of the points, and the females are worth 50%. That's a case where you want to show birds that are very well matched, that the females especially look very, very similar.
Okay. Now could we go over...
This is an example of a female of the same breed and variety. Please take note of the differences that you will see, that how the male has a longer flowing tail. The female's tail is up a little bit higher than the male's, a little bit higher angle. She does not have the pointed feathers on her hackle and on the saddle like the male has here. There's a definite differentiation in one of the ways that you can tell males from females, at least in this particular breed. Once again, try to handle the birds. We'll take them out of the cage and things of that sort. Now this female has been in the breed pen. Her tail is probably a little bit in rough condition. But once again, you want to look at the wings of the female just like you would the males. All the same things, and you want a nice, in this particular variety, you're looking for a nice even color that flows throughout and goes all the way back through the tail. You also will notice that the female's comb in the Leghorn variety is supposed to lop over like this. This is a characteristic where it's a defect in a male, but the female's comb is supposed to lop. That is part of the standardization of the way that this particular breed variety of chicken.
Now, in some other birds, would that be a disqualification if the comb lops over?
In some breeds, most females are allowed to have lopped combs if they're in or near production, but males are not allowed to have lopped combs. This is an example of Old English game bands, which are considered a true Bantam. And one of the reasons they're considered a true Bantam is because there is no identical variety or breed like that, and they carry the true Bantam gene. Some Bantams have been downsized from large fowl, but these, along with black rose combs and things of those varieties, are what they consider a true Bantam, and usually are run truly smaller than some of the other breeds and varieties of Bantams. These particular Bantams are the silver duckwing color pattern. Notice the difference between the males and the females. Once again, you have the pointed feathers on the hackle and the saddle of the male. He has the silver color with the black breast. The female has the silver color throughout with the black tail, but she also has a salmon color on her breast, which is ideal and typical of this particular variety of Bantams. Once again now, these particular Bantams have not been coop trained. These are young birds that are approximately 6 months old. If you notice that they will need some training before they have been shown. These birds actually have not been shown. They are young birds and they're just about mature enough that they're ready to start to show. Once again, when judging these birds, you would look at all the consistency of the different areas and the comb and the tail, the wings, and how the body carriage is. One of the important things about Old English game Bantams is that the feel of the body and how they are tight feathered, a little bit different than some other different varieties of like the Cochins and things of that sort. But they want a nice solid body, and you want to check the different areas of the body for different colors. This is the male of the same variety, the silver duckwing Old English game Bantam. Once again, this is a young bird that has not been shown before. He has not been coop trained, but he is nearly fully mature. His main sickle feathers here will get a little bit longer. They're just starting to come in, probably another few weeks till they have come in. You'll also note on this particular bird that the comb has been trimmed, the wattles have been trimmed off. This is because these are game chickens. They were originally bred for fighting. They can be very dangerous to one another because they grab a hold of the combs with their beaks and can really cause a lot of damage if they fight or anything of that sort. So even though these are exhibition poultry, we still carry through with the tradition of dubbing the comb, and that's just trimming the comb and the wattles off. Once again, you would look at the wings, look at the coloration of the wings. You would note here the nice white stripe that he has along each wing. That's a good characteristic in the color pattern there on both wings, things of that sort. You also will notice that he has very small spurs at this point because this bird is only about 6 months old. The spurs will get more firm and harden up and get longer with age. Once again, that's a male of the silver duckwing Old English game Bantams. This is an example of another Bantam. This is a Leghorn Bantam, which is not a true Bantam. It was bred down from the large size Bantams many years ago, or from the large fowl breed down into the Bantam size. This bird is not particularly in show condition at this point. He is still molting here on his back, and some of these new feathers are coming in on his saddle, and his tail is not incomplete at this point. But some of the things that you could do to prepare this bird for the show would be to, first of all, perhaps coop him separately from other birds and other females, things of that sort, so that none of the other birds will pick him or any of the new feathers that are growing in. Also want to keep them on a very good feed ration with a high protein to help him grow the feathers and so on. This is a very colorful bird, the light brown leghorn with the straw-colored hackle and the darker red over the back and an orange on the saddle here. Also, we'll note that in the tail has a very bright green sheen to the tail, and you want that to be consistent and even in color without any purple barring and things of that sort. There again, that would have something to do with the feeding and the rations of feeds and so on. This bird also has some molting on the breast, which will eventually come out, and new feathers will grow in. His toenails have grown a bit long. Some of them have been trimmed in the past, but these probably need to be trimmed a little bit before that he could be shown. As with any kind of pets or whatever, you can notice that the center of the nail ends about halfway. You can kind of see the darker area there, and you want to trim the nail beyond that, otherwise it will bleed. Okay, so you just want to take a pair of sharp wire cutters and just trim those nails off where they need. Not all nails need to be trimmed, but some breeds seem to grow more than others. You just snip those off. You can even take a small file and file them off a little bit, and those will be much nicer for handling and when their bird is being presented to the judge. But once again, this bird is not in show condition at this point, but this bird could very well be a show bird once he is conditioned and ready to go. Some of the other things that once he has grown his feathers back in and he is ready to show, birds can be washed. It's not a very difficult job to wash a bird. You simply get a couple tubs of warm water, and you can use some dog shampoo, which is what I recommend that you use, dog shampoo, and you soap them up, and it's a nice soft soap, and you can wash all different parts of the body and everything. Rinse them very thoroughly to be sure that the soap is all out and the shampoo is out. And then they can be dried with a hair dryer, or if it's a nice sunny day, they can be put out in the sun with a breeze and let them dry and air dry if it's nice and warm. But I recommend the hair dryer for the smaller birds. It's not difficult to use and works out very well. Their toes and stuff at that point should be ready to go. You can wash the feet along with the comb and everything, and they sometimes put some different types of ointment and things on the comb and on the wattles and to make those shine and glow for presentation to the judge and when the birds are being shown.
What kind of ointment? If you put something on the wattles and the comb, what would it be?
Well, they have some products that they use that, like a Vetorex product, or just even some oil or Vaseline, things of that sort, will just help to redden them up a little bit. You can also use camphor that helps to brighten the color of the comb and the wattles and so on. This bird has been housed inside and even could be put outside from time to time to help get more redness in its comb.
Now, when a bird is getting ready for a show, is it important to keep the feathers from fading? Like, does sunlight damage the feather color?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're in the direct sunlight for long periods of time, it would depend on the housing you have, that you could keep them in an area where they could be put out in the light for periods of time. But if they're in the sun all the time, the feathers and the color will absolutely fade, yes.
One of the main concerns that people have when they're raising poultry in the backyard is, say they went out and they found a bird that were severely ill, or if they in fact just found one dead in the yard. What are some of the concerns regarding handling of that bird, and what are some of the symptoms they should look for in a dead chicken, for example, that would tell them that they may have to have it necropsied, may have to turn it into a lab for testing?
Well, I think it depends on obviously what you see. If you see respiratory signs in some of the rest of your birds, for example, some foamy eyes, some nasal discharge, open mouth breathing in some of the other birds, diarrhea, that kind of thing, something that might tend towards making you think of an infectious disease, I would think that would be a good time maybe to take the dead bird and maybe some symptomatic birds that you don't mind sacrificing into a diagnostic lab to get a workup so that you can get some good information on what the diagnosis is, so hopefully you can control it quickly. The dead bird itself, if it's just one dead bird and it's obviously a predation or somehow got injured, that would be something that you may say, okay, well, this bird died. Don't think I'm going to have to follow up on that.
So if it's
further.
obvious what the cause of death was.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's something that you would accept. But if it's, I would urge anybody to get it checked out if you have, one or more birds die, especially at a point in of their age that you wouldn't expect any die. And I would always call the laboratory you're going to take it to ahead of time just to discuss that with the clinician that's going to see the bird and have them suggest to you which, the dead bird or a few live birds to bring in, which they would prefer.
Okay. Now, before handling a dead bird that you suspect was ill, what about personal protective clothing? Should they wear gloves, a respirator? Is any of that necessary?
No, in general, certainly respirator probably would not be needed, but I always, personal hygiene would be just regular as far as I would either wear, if you have plastic disposable gloves, I'd probably put some gloves on to handle the bird, put it in a plastic bag that won't leak, and then put that bag in another bag that won't leak. You could also just use a plastic bag on your hands that's, allows you enough dexterity to pick up the bird and put it in.
Okay.
And also wash with soap and water afterwards. But just a good personal hygiene that you would, if you would be handling a dead chipmunk or a dead bird of any other type, rather than get your bare hands on it, especially if you had any cuts on your hands, I would prefer that people use some kind of barrier, just in case there is something that infectious that you'd be worried about transmitting on your hands to other animals or birds or to yourself.
When is a bird not suitable for testing? I mean, let's say you haven't checked your birds for days and you come across one that's fairly well on as far as decomposition goes. At what point is it of no longer use to a lab?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's surprising. Sometimes we can get away with some birds that have been dead for a couple of days, obviously if it's in cooler weather and the remains are better preserved. If the bird is obviously very flattened or starting to turn green and slimy, so to speak, that would probably not be amenable to any kind of meaningful diagnostic workup. If what we like to see is a bird that's been dead less than 24 to 48 hours. The quicker you find it, the better, and if it could be kept at refrigerator temperature, that is best. So in other words, if you have an old refrigerator that you don't mind putting a dead bird in, obviously already bagged and everything, or an old just a regular cooler that you could put the bird in and then put some frozen ice packs or ice cubes in, keep it refrigerator temperature, and either drive it or ship it to the lab. We get a lot of things shipped in UPS, FedEx, or other shipping overnight. But if we can get it in 24 to 48 hours at refrigerator temperature, we can really do a lot of the workup that we need to do. Even 72 hours is pushing it, but usually as long as it's kept cold, that's pretty good also. Freezing, if you can't get it there in 48 hours, I would recommend going ahead and freezing it. That will destroy some of the tests we can do, especially a test we call histopathology, where we actually look at the tissues in context, but it's better than nothing. We can actually get a fairly good idea of what went on if you freeze it and then get it to us when you can. I mean, if once you've frozen it, you can keep it for weeks or even months.
Okay.
And then what I tell people is, if you have some deaths and you're not sure if you want to keep it in, if you could just freeze the bird back, and then if it does look like it's something infectious that's going through your flock, you might be able to send in both the fresh dead bird and the frozen one, and we have a couple to look at, and that would give us a better sample than maybe just if we see one bird that happened to die of something totally unrelated to what the rest of them are dying from, which happens. And that kind of throws you off as to what's really going on in the flock.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, sampling is very, very important, and preservation of the sample is not too difficult as long as you could keep it at refrigerator temperature and get it to us.
when people are thinking about starting with birds and they're going to get chickens from a resource, there are online places available. They could go to a local bird market. Sometimes they meet in a field and it's almost like a swap meet for chickens. Are there concerns about the health origins of those birds?
Yes, there are. Not only just starting out, but if you already have birds at home, where you get your next birds becomes really important. In general, I would recommend that you go to some source that is selling chicks that come from monitored flocks. And the national monitoring program that we have is called the National Poultry Improvement Plan. And under that plan, different breeder flocks are screened for certain diseases, especially those diseases that are passed from the parent to the chick through the egg. And if those breeder flocks are monitored for those diseases and clean of them, you can be assured that if you purchase chicks from those sources, that they won't come to you already infected with something like pylorium disease or mycoplasma, which is another vertically transmitted disease that we worry about. So I would look for an NPIP approved breeder flock.
And for the backyard poultry person, what are the threats health-wise to their stock? The most, if you just have chickens in your backyard and you only have a few meaning anywhere from 12 to 100, what threats exist today, and have there been changes in the threat level as far as the health and illnesses that birds can contract as compared to years past?
I think in general, the threats have remained the same as they have been for decades. It depends on the situation, how they're housed. Obviously, if they're housed outside and predators can get in, predation is a very common health problem. The other things that we run into quite a bit would be parasitic diseases like coccidiosis, which can be controlled by using certain medications in the feed or strategically medicating them in the water. And sometimes you can get away without having problems with coccidiosis at all, but pretty much all birds will be exposed to coccidiosis sometime or other. External parasites, if you don't control them, can be a big problem. Mites and lice. Some mite-infested flocks can really suffer ill health, and it's not something exotic, but it's something that can be controlled. But you need to know that you have it, and you have to know what to look for. Let's see, infectious diseases, another thing I see fairly commonly in new flock owners that get chicks from other people that just hatch out their own chicks is Marek's disease. Marek's disease is a virus. Very, very common, and pretty much all of our birds or chickens will be exposed to Marek's disease at some point or another, and it's controlled very effectively by vaccinations that can be given at the hatchery to the day-old chick, or sometimes in the egg itself at the hatchery. They can give a vaccine to the embryo that's still in the egg, and it's very effective. But if you get chicks that have been hatched out somewhere where they're not vaccinating them for Marek's at day of age, then often that becomes a problem later. I would say the other thing that is a little bit harder sometimes to get a handle on is the genetics of our birds. A lot of folks might get hold of genetic lines of birds, not so much in the hobby or fancy level, but if you're just saying, I want to raise chickens for meat or eggs, and you get a strain of meat, for example, commercial meat chicken that is grown commercially in the United States and across the world, really, they have been selected for very, very fast growth under very stringent conditions. And so you get them out into a situation where they're on full daylight in the summertime, they're eating as much as they can eat, they're growing as fast as they can grow. You actually get into some, what I call diseases of, it's almost like a disease of excellent health. And I know that sounds backwards, but these birds are growing so fast that they actually get into some heart failure problems, some leg problems, if you don't actually slow them down. And so genetically, I think we get into some strains of birds that are programmed to grow or produce eggs in a certain setting. We're putting them in a very different setting, and they actually get into some problems because of either growth or egg production or just their behavior. They may have been selected to do well in cages for years and years and years, and we put them
Right.
out in the barnyard. They may not be street savvy, so to
They just
speak.
stand there. They don't roam. They don't, forage on their own.
Right.
Well, that's evident in some of those
I mean,
birds.
a lot.
Yeah.
Most of them are very adaptable. It's amazing to me how healthy chickens are. But that's one thing I try to talk about with small flock people is try to get if you want a dual purpose animal, try to get a dual purpose animal that's can give you eggs and meat and do well in an outdoor setting.
Like
Yeah.
Rhode Island Reds, for
Yeah,
example.
Rhode Island Reds. But
Yeah.
you even have to be careful with those because we have some strains of Rhode Island Reds that have sort of been selected towards a broiler strain.
They've been hybridized,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So
Okay.
don't be fooled by the color. Just
Okay.
because it's not white doesn't mean
So
it's
learn
not.
to know the traits of an actual true Rhode Island Red, for example, or if you're looking at a heritage breed like that, then you should understand what it should look like, what it should behave like, and be aware that they may have brought some other genetic stock into that to give it other traits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And one other thing along that line is that we have a lot of our laying hens have great potential to lay a lot of eggs. But what I sometimes see in those birds is an increased incidence of tumors. It's usually reproductive tumors, and somebody will bring me a hen and say, I've had 2 or 3 of my 10 hens die over the last 2 months, and they've been producing great, and you do the postmortem exam and you find tumors of the ovary or the oviduct, and
Okay.
and actually these birds lay so well. They're under high estrogen levels all the time. They're mobilizing a lot of fat through the liver to put into the egg, and they just especially under the estrogen stimulation of being in production a lot, they tend to get some tumors. And it's not something that's going to hurt you if you eat the eggs or eat the meat.
Right.
But the hen, just because of selection for high egg production, probably also selected a little bit for her to have some reproductive
Is there an
tumors.
average age that generally occurs in hens like that?
Well, I see it more over 1.5 to 2 years.
1.5 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the most productive time frame of a hen's life is from 1 to 2 years. Is that right? I mean, beyond that, they fall off so much.
And again, it depends on the strain. I mean, in the
Okay.
commercial strains, we're really looking at the first 70 weeks of age would be her most productive time. Well,
Okay.
from 20
Well,
weeks to 70 weeks, I should
Yeah,
say.
and then a lot of people that are starting small flocks also have other farm animals on their plot. So they may have horses and goats and chickens and turkeys and ducks and geese and everything together because they like a variety and they like that whole homestead scene. Are there concerns health-wise about keeping chickens with other poultry and other livestock?
Yeah, chickens, there are some mixes that can work if you know about them, but are potentially dangerous. Turkeys and chickens together can be a problem because turkeys are susceptible to the protozoal organism that causes blackhead or histaminiasis. And that is carried by a chicken. The chickens don't get sick from it, but the turkeys do. So if you do turkeys and chickens together, and you want to keep the turkeys for hobby or not for use as human consumption, there are some drugs that could be used to preventatively control blackhead in your turkeys. So you can have them together, but there are some diseases that you would have to be aware of. Peafowl would be another type of bird that is somewhat susceptible to blackhead. So if you have chickens and peafowl together, your peafowl may have blackhead. Different types of worms. The coccidia actually are different, so that's usually not a problem. I mean, they both might get coccidiosis, but they won't get each other's types.
Oh, so there's their own strain.
Yeah,
their own-
exactly.
Okay.
They're very host specific. Parasites less so; they'll share them. Waterfowl species and chickens, especially if you have other wild waterfowl coming in, might be a portal that you could get some waterfowl influenza viruses in with your domestic ducks or geese.
Okay.
And that could pass to your chickens in some circumstances.
Okay.
So,
So if, based on what you're saying, if someone were going completely organic and they didn't want to use any medications, which is a common thing today, they really would be setting themselves up for failure if they brought in turkeys with their chickens and they had no plan of using medication to protect those birds. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, if you're going to house them together, yes, I think
Okay.
you'd have trouble with that. You certainly, if you had a big enough place and you could isolate your turkeys away from your
Okay.
chickens, you
So
could
as a
have
minimum,
both
you
at
want
your
separate
own.
housing, you know, at night for them. Okay, and
Well,
ducks and chickens the
at
same
all
thing.
times.
Aside from the fact that ducks are a huge mess in a poultry house, you should also house your waterfowl separate from
Yeah,
chickens.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I would make a division there, if at all possible.
Okay.
And pigs, you asked about other livestock. Most other livestock, and including pet species, you can, you know, they can get along fairly well. Obviously, dogs might disturb your chickens and cause some predation problems if you have that type of dog. But the only other combination from a disease standpoint that you may want to watch is swine and chickens or turkeys, because again they can pass influenza viruses between those species. There's another bacterial disease called erysipelas that can be passed between swine and turkeys especially. It can
Okay.
cause a problem. That one can actually infect people locally if you have some turkeys dying of erysipelas and you pick them up with your bare hands. Another reason to wear gloves or
Okay.
some type of a plastic barrier if you're going to pick them up. You could get a erysipelas bacteria into a cut on your hand and cause a really painful cutaneous lesion that
Okay.
usually stays localized but can cause a little bit more serious problem.
Well, that's interesting. Before you set up your incubator, consider the location. That's the most important thing. You can't have it near any windows or any drafts. There shouldn't be sunlight beaming into the room, and if you can, have a room where the temperature is fairly constant. Once you find a space like that, make sure your tabletop or surface that you're going to put it on can be cleaned easily and sanitized, and make sure that it's absolutely level. The incubators that you set up will have water in the base, so you want a level space to set your incubator on so that the water doesn't run out or isn't deeper on one side or the other. Aside from putting your incubator on a level surface, it's important that the surface material be smooth and doesn't obstruct the bottom of the incubators. Airflow goes through underneath, is pulled through by the fan, and vents through the top. If you set this on carpet or a blanket or some other material that's fluffy, then it can stop the flow of air and reduce your success rate with your hatch. Now what I have, these two are considered hobby level incubators. They each will set 42 eggs. Now it's not necessary for you to have 2 incubators. I have 2 because I use one as a backup, and even though I'm only incubating 12 eggs, these eggs are fairly valuable. And I leave one incubator absolutely dry. The second incubator I'll run at an equal temperature, but it will have water in it so I can increase the humidity. And as the eggs progress in their incubation period, if these show that they have the right size air cell, they'll remain in this incubator. I have the optional egg turner as well. Now, if it shows that they're losing moisture too fast, I'll transfer those eggs into another incubator that already has moisture and the humidity level is higher. These incubators are made by Little Giant, and they have the forced air unit. I find personally that the forced air units are more stable and are easier to control in a room where temperatures may change periodically. Now these are the egg cups that the eggs will sit in. I like that. They're easy to clean, but keep in mind that we're pre-sanitizing the eggs before we put them in. There's also a thermometer that comes with the unit, and it's already marked at 99.5 degrees, which is the optimum temperature for incubating in a forced air unit. Now these styrofoam units hold temperatures great. The only drawback I find is that they're difficult to sanitize between hatches. The companies that manufacture them have offered disposable trays that you can put in the unit, which makes it easier to clean out later. But I find that pathogens can even go to the surface of the incubator, and you never feel that you've completely sanitized it. So I don't hatch in these units, I only incubate. Another tip, other than the manufacturer's thermometer, which is fine, I have a calibrated thermometer that in this unit I stick right through the side, and it's digital, and it's a long probe that slides in and reads the full distance across the eggs. When it's closed, that thermometer probe is at the same height as the upper third of the egg, so that gives me an accurate reading. Okay, what we're going to do right now is kind of an experiment. The eggs that we have been outside all day in my friend's car. They're from Rosecomb White Leghorns, and because it's only 31 degrees outside, we had to set them here in the studio for a number of hours to let them acclimate themselves and become ambient before we go on to anything else. Now if you'll notice, some of the eggs have come clean right from the coop, and the rule of thought there is if the egg's clean already, there's already a coating on the egg, the bloom it's called, which protects it naturally from bacteria. But because the incubator that I use gets used over and over again, and I want to limit the sanitation, you can see this one's got a little bit of dirt on it. I want to limit the sanitation practices in the incubator and the opportunity for bacteria to develop, so we sanitize the eggs before putting them in. The sanitizer that I'm going to use here is called Tektrol, and it mixes at ½ an ounce per gallon. I have a scale sitting here, and I've already poured the amount of Tektrol that I'm going to need to clean these eggs. I'm washing them in a stainless steel sink that's been sanitized ahead of time. And after I've handled the eggs, because this is a dirty side, and this side over here where you see these eggs is my clean and sanitized side, so I never touch anything over here unless I either have gloves on or my hands have been sanitized. So I'm going to go clean my hands and we'll start washing the eggs. Sanitize my hands before putting them in the gloves, and if you don't wash your hands before putting them in the gloves, then you're just moving bacteria into the gloves after handling dirty eggs. So now that the gloves are on, my hands are clean before putting them on, I'm going to start running water into the sink to cover the eggs. I put the Tektrol in a cup off to the side. That way the Tektrol mixes with the water as the water fills the basin. I ran the hot water first to bring it up to temperature to make sure we're not chilling these eggs. As a rule of thumb, you want the eggs to be about 20 degrees cooler than the water that you're putting them in. If the water's cold and the eggs are warm, they'll literally draw bacteria into the egg. I check the water temperature before I go ahead, and I'm verifying that at this time it's 98 degrees, which is a good temperature for cleansing the eggs. After the eggs have been washed, which took less than 5 minutes, I immediately dry them off with a blow dryer. And make sure to use hot air, again, so that we don't cool the eggs, which would draw bacteria in. Now we have a sanitized egg. Each egg has been individually numbered so that we can track the parent stock. This one, for example, is number 19. And the eggs are clean, and my hands again have been sanitized themselves before touching the eggs. Even skin oils can block the pores of eggshells. Now that the eggs are sanitized and dried, we'll go on to prepare the incubator. We're only setting 12 of these eggs. The rest are for a larger incubator. The friend that gave me the eggs has an incubator capacity of over 800. And since we're having a break here in the middle of January, he didn't want to start up a giant incubator just for that purpose, so we're doing the 12 here on a hobby scale incubator. Now that this unit is reading 99.5, I'll take my calibrated thermometer and insert it in the other unit, just to make sure that they're both balanced and that the temperatures are accurate.
This one's at 99.4, so that's an acceptable parameter for incubation. Next, we'll place the eggs. The indicator light on the Little Giant should blink on and off pretty consistently. That shows you that it's holding its current temperature. When you initially set up the Little Giant and you haven't established it at 99.5, you want to turn this dial clockwise until this light stays on. Have a thermometer where you can observe it, and then as it gets up to temperature, when it hits 99.5, turn this dial counterclockwise until the light goes off. That's a good starting point for fine-tuning your incubator. After your hands are sanitized, you can handle the eggs that have also been sanitized. You can hold them up to a bright light, and then you can see if there are imperfections in the shell, which may cause problems during the hatch. It also gives you a chance to look at the air cell at the rounded side of the egg to see how large it is, and this indicates freshness of the egg itself. Do this visual inspection with every egg prior to placing it in the incubator. There's a linear indication here which shows that this shell's cracked. I wouldn't put it in for incubation. This is an example of a shell, even though it has variable thicknesses and light passes through at different levels. This egg is actually okay for incubation. Always turn the eggs carefully and slowly. When you're putting them in the incubator, remember the pointed end goes down. The same is true for storage. And the air cell or rounded end always goes up. Here's a Bantam egg as compared to a standard Rhode Island Red brown egg. Some light-colored shells seem to be easier to see through when they're held up to a light. I've turned the incubator unit off while we load the eggs. It's important to put all the eggs pointed end down. Because it's a forced air unit, it really doesn't matter where you put the eggs. And the numbers on top will help us keep a record of which hen laid an egg that was fertile. On a hot day, you don't want to put eggs near the motor. This generates heat also. If it's in a room where the temperatures can get to 80 degrees or more, the unit may actually overheat. The motor from the blower and the motor from the turner generate heat on their own, so if it's in a hot space on a hot summer day, the unit will actually bake the eggs. Now we'll close the unit. Keep in mind this one's being started absolutely dry, and then we turn them back on. During the time frame when they're coming back up to temperature, expect some changes in the temperature of the unit because the eggs will take time for it to come up to temperature again, so there'll be a delay. Don't start readjusting it. Once you know it's been set at a stable temperature, give it time to acclimate and stabilize. My greatest problem during incubation has been that the eggs don't dehydrate fast enough. The manufacturer has plugs in the tops of the incubators which limit the airflow and can increase the humidity. I don't leave the plugs in, and I remove them all throughout the incubation process. That works best for me. Your climate may be different. Now in a styrofoam incubator like this Little Giant, you'll see that you have your heat controlling module, and this is the heating element. And in this particular model, there's the forced air blower. If you don't have the forced air blower, you'll be operating your system at 102 degrees at the upper 1/3 of the egg. With the forced blower, as this one has, then you'll be operating it at 99.5 degrees, and the temperature is distributed equally throughout the incubator. Now if you've chosen to use the optional automatic egg turner, you'll have to remove the egg turner on the 18th day of incubation, which is when you'll put your eggs on the screened bottom, and remove this. If you let the eggs hatch in the automatic turner, some of the chicks may be trapped, and also the entire unit will be filthy and you'll have to sanitize it, and it's going to really be a challenge. So if you're not using the automatic egg turner and you're going to be turning them by hand, you're going to have to mark each egg. What we do is mark a 0 on one side, turn it 180 degrees, and mark an X on the other side. Make sure to use a pencil that has very soft graphite and keep the tip rounded. You have to be careful not to poke a hole in the egg, especially if you're doing this with children. They may put too much pressure on and just poke a hole in the egg, and then that one's ruined. So now each day you'll know at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day an X or an O should be up with every egg. Now we'll load the tray. You'll also realize if you're putting your eggs in without the automatic turner how important it is that this unit be absolutely level. If it weren't level when you went to put these eggs in, and in this case we've started off with the X side up, they'd roll all over, they'd roll to the low side. Turn your eggs at least 3 times a day so that there's a different side up for each overnight time frame. So in the first thing in the morning you would get up and turn it to the 0 side, and then around noon you turn it back to the X side, and then at the end of the day the 0 side again, so they would sit there overnight, and then follow that cycle again every day. This is the most important during the first week and a half of the incubation period. The eggs must be turned. Also make sure that you've washed your hands and there are no skin oils before you touch these eggs. Notice the position of the thermometer. It's located with the upper third of the egg. If it's a still air incubator, this thermometer will read 102 degrees. And there's a stratified temperature layer as it goes down. So the top would be at 102, but the bottom section of the egg may only be at 98 or 99, for example. If your incubator has been used to hatch eggs before, that you do a proper sanitizing before putting in a fresh batch of eggs. If you don't, bacteria could pre-exist that would already start to form in the eggshells. The hot, humid environment that we use for incubation is perfect for growing pathogens and contaminating your eggs. Keep in mind also that these eggs have been sanitized before being put in, and sanitizers like Tektrol have a residual effect on the surface of the egg, which means they'll continue to fight bacteria after the eggs have been placed. It's February 11th, and even though the chicks aren't due until the 13th, you have to take time now to set up your brooder so it's ready when they get here. You won't have time to make preparations once the chicks arrive because they'll need warmth and water right away. This is a good location for us in the basement because when the chicks are put in this brooder, as people walk by, they become accustomed to people and don't get startled. The bottom of this brooder is a single sheet of plexiglass, so it's waterproof and it's easy to keep clean. Beneath that we have a heat strip that only uses 16 watts of power but provides significant heat for the chicks underneath their feet. The next thing you'll need is a heat lamp. This one gets suspended from the overhead, and that way we can adjust the height of it as the chicks grow or as their heating needs decline. In the very beginning, we'll keep it low to the ground. We want 95 degrees for the chicks when they first get into the brooder. So for heat sources, you have a 75 watt red bulb. You can have a ceramic element. These things cost about $26 a piece. One of the advantages to using an element that actually casts light is, if it ever goes out, you'll know at a glance. If these go out or fail, you won't know unless you go up and test the heat yourself. They generate a lot of dust when they're little and throughout their lives actually. It's critical if you're raising them inside that you set up some method of capturing the dust from the air. Here's a filter that I've removed from the last brood, and you can see all the dust that was collected inside. You don't want this floating around your house, and if you don't have a dust collection unit set up, this fine mist will settle everywhere. Make sure that the filter you choose to use can handle very fine particles. The better quality the filter, the less dust you're going to deal with in your house. I purchased a computer fan to move the air through the filter. They run on very low wattage, so they're inexpensive to operate, and I just leave it on 24/7. It also has a speed control, so if something's going on in the brooder and a lot of dust gets kicked up, I just turn it up. Then when the dust cloud or dust storm is over with, I return it to its normal function. It does move a lot of air, but for this size brooder, it doesn't create a draft which is detrimental to the chicks. The next thing we do is put down several layers of newspaper. That's just to start them off. And then we put in the perches. Even though the chicks will be too small to use these perches when they first start, it's good to have them in there so that they're used to them. Make sure if you put perches in your brooder that they're all removable so that you can do a proper cleaning. It's important now to call the post office and make sure that they have your contact information and your phone number gets posted on the bulletin board there. Make sure they know that you'll accept a phone call anytime, day or night. Time is critical when ships are coming, especially in winter as it is now. Now we're using a drinker specifically designed for chickens and chicks. If you use a drinker of your own design, or a pie plate for example, the chicks can walk right through it and will soil it. Some chicks, if they can fall in, will even drown in the water. This drinker has been mixed with lukewarm water, and we've put sugar in it also to give the chicks a quick start. About a quarter cup of sugar per gallon of water is a good mix, but there's no solid rule for that. When the chicks get here, they'll need water, they'll need energy, and they'll need heat. The feeding trough has been filled with chick starter crumbs. This I feel is better than mash because when the chick eat the crumbs, they get the full diet. If you buy a commercially prepared feed like this, there's no need to add anything else or to substitute their feed. This is a complete diet. I also sprinkle some on the floor near the heat lamp so that when the chicks come, they'll scratch around on the floor of the brooder and they'll get used to this food source. Later, they'll learn to feed completely from this feeding trough. It's important to have a top on the feeding trough so that chicks can't walk through or soil or stand in their food. In my opinion, buying a commercially developed food is the easiest route and it's the healthiest for the chicks. Make sure that you get a food resource that's commercially prepared that says that it's the sole ration or a complete ration for the chicks. This way, you won't be having to come up with your own ingredients, your own supplements, or your own nutrition. It's a very complicated thing, and this has been perfected over many years by feed companies. This is a non-medicated feed because the chicks we're receiving will have been vaccinated before they left the hatchery. Keep in mind that this brooder is much more complex than it needs to be. Since I do hatch after hatch and have many cycles of chicks through the year, we get lots of visitors, and this is a great way to display the chicks to little kids and adult visitors that are curious about raising chickens. It's not necessary for you to set something up of this nature. You can go with a cardboard box, and in some cases they're just cardboard skirts that people sit on the floor, maybe even in a barn if it's during warm weather. You have to consider that you may have household pets that can jump into your box and get the chicks. Cats are notorious for that. But this setup is because it's used over and over, and it's important to clean and sanitize the brooder between each batch of chicks. Go ahead and take the lid off, Justin.
One of them's like really cold.
Okay. The open lid, we want to get the heat from the car into the box as soon as possible. There you go. Is that the one?
Yeah, this one's really cold.
Okay, so just hold them in your hand and feel his body warm up. Does he feel cool? All right. Well, we'll keep the heat in the car on full, and we'll get him to the brooder as soon as we can. If you have weak chicks, you want to take them out of the box first. And before you turn them loose in the brooder, you have to dip their beaks in the water and make sure that they've had a drink. Then place them underneath the heat lamp. Noisy chicks are usually cold or hungry, and now that they've gathered under the heat lamp, as they begin to warm up and get more comfortable, you'll hear their loud chirping taper off and they'll start to relax. The most important thing is that they each know how to drink now. Later they'll figure out that there's food around and they'll come to nibble. But for right now they're just trying to warm up, and that's their first line of survival, is to stay warm and have something to drink. You can stimulate their eating by tapping your finger at the food. Some of those that are more alert will come up and start to investigate the pieces of crumbles that are on the floor, like this little fella's doing. A good sign that the heat lamp is at an appropriate height is that the chicks, within minutes of being put in the brooder, are already freely roaming around and not congregating or piling directly under the light. In fact, most have already started to eat. Keep in mind that if there are any weak chicks in the batch, that they should be set in first, given a drink, and put immediately underneath the heater. One of the chicks was only saved because we put it in our hands early and warmed it on the way home. Every chick in this batch is doing fine, and we didn't lose a single one in shipment. This demonstrates a really good pattern. With the chicks all spread evenly and roaming freely, and without a group piling underneath the light, we've really hit an optimum temperature for them. What they'll do is gather under the light, warm up, save some heat energy, and then they'll go and explore the rest of the brooder. As you can see, some are already eating the solid food. Now that the chicks are a full week old, they're settled in their routine of eating and drinking and getting to know one another, and of course sleeping. After the first couple of days, it's important to replace the newspaper with wood shavings. In this case, pine shavings. The paper is slippery, and if left as the only substrate, may lead to splayed legs or make proper leg bone alignment difficult as the chicks develop. This is especially important with the heavier breeds. Notice how their feathers are developing, with flight feathers showing first. This allows the chicks to already fly short distances, which in turn would aid in escaping from predators. Proper temperature is still very important. In colder air, the chicks would feather out sooner, which would consume valuable nutrition which they need for proper bone and organ growth. It's also important to make sure that you clean the drinkers and feed troughs every day. You want to make sure the water's fresh, and don't try to save food by adding more. Clean out and dispose of any unconsumed feed. I keep fresh food available around the clock, and I never try to ration their feed.
You can also notice that their chirping is social now. Instead of squawking for warmth, they're squawking for food. Really loud chicks should always be investigated because there may be something wrong. This is one of the partridge rock chicks. And this light-colored chick you see in the middle was one that they threw in as an extra, just for fun. And those with striped backs and feathered feet are, of course, the dark Brahmas. This is the base of a Brower top hatch incubator unit. This is the one I prefer for actually hatching the chicks. As you may recall, I brewed the chicks in the styrofoam incubators because they hold heat temperature so well and they're stable. So then we go to the top hatch unit for actual hatching because it comes apart and the components go right in the dishwasher and are easy to clean. This is the unit that the eggs go in, and it's the unit that you'll be cleaning most often. Notice that there's a groove on the bottom. This groove lines right up with an arm that's on the bottom of the base unit. This unit turns around slowly, and with the eggs inside, it becomes the automatic turner. It ends up turning back and forth and rolling the eggs. Okay, this is the hatching unit that's on the base now. This is part of the Brower top hatch incubator. Now this is a forced air unit. The fan is shrouded inside of this cylinder here. The air forces past this light bulb, which is a 60-watt bulb. You want to make sure that you have plenty of backup light bulbs in the event that this one goes out. You won't have time to go shopping. Now the way the unit functions is the eggs sit in between these partitions on this plastic coated screen. The frame rotates back and forth, but these partitions remain stationary, so as the eggs sit against them, the eggs will roll over and over, and it only shifts about 20 degrees each direction, and that's enough to turn the eggs on an hourly cycle. There's also a preset slot in one of the partitions so that you can put your thermometer in. And again, because it's a forced air unit, we run it at 99.5. The best part of the whole thing is all these parts are plastic. They come apart. We can put them inside the dishwasher, and it sanitizes the whole thing between hatches. And then we just put it all back together. With all the parts in, one of the best features of this for kids
is that the entire top is clear and they can watch the hatching process. It also comes with the vent plugs, which, as I said before, I like to leave out completely because I like a good air exchange. But you decide based on your atmosphere environment. If it's really, for example, dry where you live, then you want to leave some of these in place and take one or two out just to maintain the proper humidity level. The best indicator of proper humidity is, of course, the air cell size in the egg during the hatch period, during the incubation period. Control for the heat. You turn it clockwise to increase the heat and counterclockwise to turn it down. When you're first setting the unit up, turn it clockwise so that the heating light stays on. Watch the thermometer inside the unit, and when it hits 99.5, that's when you turn it counterclockwise until the light goes out. Then as the light flickers on and off, you'll be able to fine-tune the temperature within the incubator unit. So remember, during the first 18 days of incubation, I have the eggs in the styrofoam unit, and they're using the automatic turner. And then after the 18th day, I transfer them into this top hatch unit, but I disengage the automatic turner because the eggs will remain stationary. The problem with this unit, and my only real complaint, is that it's noisy. And that's what you have to listen to all the time. So I use it for the last 3 days of incubation. And then the chicks hatch, and then we get them into a brooder. You can see this egg getting a tiny crack. This is called pipping. And once the shell is pipped or cracked through, the chick may still take another 24 hours to completely come out of the shell. Looking through one of the ventilation holes, we can see another egg starting to pip. It's important not to open your incubator during this period. Even when a chick comes out, leave the lid on and let the others hatch. During the pipping process, the chicks will actually talk to one another through their shells, and this encourages the rest of the hatch to start pipping as well if they haven't already.
even at just 1 week of age, these standard-sized Rhode Island Reds have outgrown the fish tank that was used for a temporary brooder immediately after hatching. Notice also that we started them right off with elevated feeders and elevated drinkers. Notice also that their feathering is very advanced for 1 week of age. Their flights are developed, their shoulder feathers are coming in, and their tail feathers have started as well. So Nadia, when we're talking about eggs, and someone's going to the grocery store and you're buying eggs, and we see all the different markings, AA, single A, and the different grades, what do those mean exactly, and what should someone look for?
Well, the first thing that we want to be sure about is that we're familiar with egg sizes.
Okay.
But before we even do that, we want to look at those eggs and make sure that they are clean, they are cold, and the eggs have been covered.
Okay.
So, and carry that same idea through when you bring them home and put them in your refrigerator. And a good idea also, and very important one, and that is that the wide end of the egg should always be up because that is where the air cell is.
Okay, so just so people know what we're talking about, there's a pointed end at the bottom,
That's right.
and in the top there's an air cell that develops, and this is the way it should be in the carton for eggs.
Exactly.
And when you say cool, clean, and covered, good way to remember it, for covered we mean like an egg box like this?
That's right.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be airtight.
No, it does not.
Okay.
And one mistake people have made is, and even when they came out with the refrigerators, they would have the openings in the door to put the eggs in, which was a very bad idea because the
Okay.
eggs were, when you opened the door, the eggs were out exposed and they were not covered all the time.
Okay. All right. Okay, so when someone goes to the store and they have a double A egg, that means exactly what? That's the best grade of egg that you can buy. So what would that mean for egg quality and freshness?
Well, that means that that egg has a very, very small air cell, if hardly any, in fact. The yolk would be in the center of the egg.
Okay.
There would be a lot of thick white, hardly no thin white, and this is what you would be looking for when you break that egg. Whether you're frying it, the egg yolk would be right in the very center, and all you would have is thick white.
That's interesting that you say that the egg yolk would be in the center of the egg, because I've seen deviled eggs, for example, where the yolk was off to the side, because they had to scoop it out and then reset it. You'll see it's real thin on one side. Is that partly what happens when, if you were to store your eggs on the side, for example, that yolk would rise within the egg, right?
That could be
so
a possibility,
it loses
yes.
position.
Right.
So one of the attributes of having it stored in this way is it keeps that yolk centered.
Exactly.
Okay, well that makes perfect sense. That's great. And what's a safe time frame that someone should reasonably store eggs? Let's say they got them fresh. How long is an egg good for, assuming it's at the appropriate temperature?
If you keep the egg cold, and you brought it fresh or brought it in from the coop or whatever it may be, eggs will keep really 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Okay.
And you can be sure that they will still be edible, and you wouldn't have to worry about them.
Oh, that's interesting. How can we tell by looking at that egg if it's still good and if we can still safely eat it? How do we know that it's fresh enough to eat or if it's gone by?
Of course,
Other than the date maybe that's on the box.
the best way, of course, is if you would break the egg. If you wanted to be sure and you had no idea, if you would drop that egg in water,
Okay.
the egg would float. If the egg floats, you know very well that egg has already seen
Okay.
a length of time. The other way, of course, is breaking the egg into a cup or on a plate, and notice how thick or thin the white is, and where the yolk is located. And of course, the best thing to check is the air cell. If it covers the entire bottom of the egg, you can be sure that it has already seen maybe some good length of time.
Yeah. Okay. So when the air cell's large, I mean, is the egg unsafe to eat, or is it just not desirable for cooking, just because of the quality of the egg has gone down and it's watery, and as you said, when you were grading eggs. You learned to grade eggs through the Department of Agriculture.
That's right.
And you worked for the Extension Office.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you break open an egg to grade it, exactly what did you look for, and what was the quality of an egg? How did you look at that?
Well, when I broke the egg open, you would look immediately, how thick the white was.
Okay.
Whether there was a lot of thin white. The first thing I looked at is the air cell. And if that was large, then, I would just kind of take it step by step. The yolk has to be quite high if it's flat and so forth. Now, there really is those eggs can be used. They don't have to be discarded. They are good for baking. There's nothing wrong with that. Put in custard, so forth. And if you're going to scramble eggs, there's no reason that you couldn't scramble them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would like them hard cooked, or if you're going to, or poach them, I certainly would like a higher grade of egg.
Okay, so that's a good point. When you're poaching eggs, that's when probably the egg quality is most critical.
Exactly. Yes.
And another dish where the egg freshness is really important would be
When just frying eggs.
just frying an egg, because then it would stand nice and proud on the skillet.
Yes.
Okay, and let's say an egg is marginal and you still want to use it. What's a good way? Just a cake recipe or something else?
Well, you could scramble them. That would be fine. And there's nothing wrong with an omelet. So,
Okay.
see, even an egg of lower quality, you're going to be beating them up, with milk and other ingredients, so they're fine for omelets and scrambling and so forth.
Okay. Now I suggested that you hard boil an egg, and you corrected me and said you don't hard boil an egg because there's a distinction between boiling and cooking an egg, hard cooking an egg.
That's right.
And what's the distinction again before I get in trouble?
Well, the distinction is when you boil eggs, you toughen them. And
Okay.
eggs are a protein food, and they cannot take a high temperature and long cooking. So what you want to do is we steam eggs. And
Okay.
that is using a small quantity of water and bringing it to a steaming point, shortening the temperature at low heat, and then timing the egg after that. And you can always be sure you're going to have a good egg.
Great. Okay, now you've been getting your eggs from me for years,
Oh, excellent eggs.
and
Delicious.
And, you say that you really can't recall your last store-bought egg, but is there an obvious difference when you receive eggs from the store as compared to eggs from a local farm who's raised them in their backyard?
Yes, because for number one, I'm never sure the eggs from the store are as fresh as they claim to be.
Okay.
And so, even in baking, I always will break the egg into a small cup to make sure that if it's if I'm going to make a angel food cake, I want nice thick white.
Great.
And
okay.
if the egg is very old, I'm not sure just the quality of the white and how well it will beat up for anything, or even a meringue, for a pie.
Okay.
You want to be sure that the egg is fresh. So when you get store-bought eggs, there is a date on there, but I don't know how long the store has stored them, and have they been stored properly.
Right. Okay. Well, that's great. Would you mind going to the kitchen with us and giving us some pointers there now?
Oh, I'll be glad
That'd
to,
be great.
Fred.
Thanks, Nadia. Okay, so now that we're in the kitchen, give some pointers on how to hard cook an egg.
Well,
Okay.
Fred, I think you're learning fast. I have 4 eggs in this saucepan here, and for the first egg, I'm using 4 tablespoons, which would be 1/4 of a cup. But I'm just going to put 4 tablespoons in here, which is, as he said, 1/4 of a cup. And for each additional egg I have in here, I have 3 more eggs. I use a tablespoon per egg. So I have 1, 2, 3 more tablespoons. And Fred, if you take a look in there, you'll notice there's not very much water in those.
Okay,
in
so the eggs aren't even half covered.
That's
Okay,
exactly the
great.
way because we're hard cooking and not hard boiling.
Okay.
All right. Now we use a high heat. We start on high heat.
Okay, so now the eggs have cooked for 15 minutes,
That's right.
and you've taken them out of the pan.
Yes, sir. And this is what the eggs look like. None of them have cracked at all,
Okay.
because of course the eggs are nice and fresh.
Now, is there any trick? People have hard cooked their eggs, and they need to get the shell off without pulling the egg apart. Is there any special magic to that?
It's just rolling them. That's all you have to do is roll that either in your hands in
Okay.
this manner here, or right over the surface. And of course, you find an egg that is very fresh, like these are, Fred,
Okay.
are a little more difficult sometimes to peel
Okay.
than an older egg, or an egg that has been.
So what is it about a fresh egg that makes it hard to peel?
Well, I really think that the fact that the membrane and the shell clings more to the egg,
Okay.
and that's probably the reason for it.
Okay.
Now, we can always tell when the egg is nicely done here when we slice the egg. Notice
Oh yeah, that's nice.
how tender that is,
Okay.
and the yolk is practically centered there, and it's very good eating. No problems there at all. It's not gummy or anything. It's
Okay.
just as tender as can be.
Well, that came out perfect. One of the things you mentioned, Nadia, was clean, cool, and covered. So if we're talking about cold, what's a recommended temperature for eggs when you're storing them in the refrigerator?
The best temperature is around 40 degrees.
Okay.
And that is a safe temperature, and that includes milk too, any of your products like that.
Okay.
40 is good.
Super. Okay, and now you're going to show us what a fresh egg should look like if you were grating it, for example.
That's right. Now, of course, as we said before, we look at the egg and see if it's just a little rough. We look in the carton to make sure that the white end of the egg is up. And when we're ready to break the egg, just crack it. And the first thing I do is look at the air cell.
Okay.
And notice
Oh,
how
I see it.
it's
All right.
very small,
Yeah.
and which is good. This is what we want. And
Now here's a good thing to have on this egg. I notice this little white speck, and sometimes people ask about that. Now, is that a problem for an egg? I mean, is that always present?
it should be.
Okay.
And that's the air the chick. the
Right. It's a blastoderm,
That's right.
and this is present on every yolk, whether it's been fertilized or not. And some people look at an egg and they see this little white spot and they think, oh no, that was a fertilized egg, I just can't eat it.
That's
But that exists on every egg, and it happens to be the site where if the egg were fertilized, the embryo would begin to develop there. But that is a normal egg, and it would appear, sometimes that might be on the bottom and you wouldn't see it. So when it points up, it is a normal egg.
Yeah, and people that are going to hatch eggs on their own or anything, they always look for that. And the brighter it is, the more distinct, I should say, the better it is for, hatching.
Okay.
And we talked about the air cell here,
Right?
and then we're looking at the thick white.
And it is nice and thick
Thick.
and solidified. It's coagulated, or what would you say? When you
Well,
describe that?
It is. Well, it's thick, and and the yolk is right on top of it, which is what we're looking
Okay.
for.
And you mentioned that the yolk should be nice and prominent. And if we look at it from the side here, it really does stand right up.
It certainly does.
Okay.
And then your thin white, you see, is around there, and it
Okay.
hasn't even spread over the edge of the plate. If this
Okay.
egg were much older, was an older egg, or has been standing around for any length of time, it would
Just be runny
take
and
the whole thing.
Okay.
And another little thing is an egg left at room temperature would deteriorate when it would take a week in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
So if you leave, a lot of people take their eggs and put them on top of the refrigerator, or the worst
Okay.
place, of course, is near the range,
Okay.
and deterioration takes place quickly.
Okay. So,
So-
an egg left out doesn't have much shelf life.
It does not. It
Okay.
certainly does not.
Okay.
You might be hatching chicks.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now, what about hard cooked eggs?
Well, people assume that once they've cooked their eggs, especially hard cooked,
Right.
it's okay to leave them out.
Okay.
And that is really a misnomer. Eggs should be kept in the refrigerator even after they are cooked.
Okay.
Hard cooked eggs. So Easter coming around the corner at any time, people will take and keep the eggs out after they color them, which is not a very good
Okay,
idea.
so they still need to go right back in the refrigerator, even
That's
after
right.
they've been hard cooked. At 6 weeks of age, you can see pretty clearly that this is a hen. Her comb is pale and small, and there's very little evidence of her wattles. And in this 6-week-old male, you can see that his comb is larger, and that it has a brighter orange tint, and as you can see, his little wattles are developing. So we banded the males with red bands and the pullets with yellow bands so that we can track them as they grow. They've feathered out enough now that we can transfer them outside and put them in a coop. They still need to be shielded from drafts, but they can take cooler temperatures at night. So this is their last day in the brooder. Here's one of the dark Brahma cockerels. He's now 12 weeks old. And after the 10th week, we had to change their ration to a 15% protein, which is a grower finisher. If this were a hen, we'd keep this bird on that ration until she laid her first egg.
but the cockerels will change over with the hens, or now they're called pullets after their 5th week. So he's doing really well, and characteristic of some of the males, his back feathers are coming in slow. The hens are fully feathered, but the males often lag behind, especially when we're talking about Brahmas. Here we have a dark Brahma pullet, and she's nicely feathered, basically has all of her adult plumage. She has full hot feathers, she has nice foot feathers, and she's doing just great. She's at 12 weeks of age. Now we have the silver sea-bright hen. She's also 12 weeks old. This is a very lightweight bird, and so they're capable of flying high. If you wanted to keep her in a pen and didn't want her to be able to fly over the fence, you'd have to pick one wing and clip off the primary flight feather tips on that wing. Don't clip both of them or she'll just be able to overcome it and fly up. By clipping one, you destabilize her in flight, so she just pinwheels and can't get any altitude. Really nice lightweight bird.
Okay, we're candling an egg using a mag light, and you can see by this little shadow at the top, and it's even moving, that this egg is viable. We also need to check the air cell, which for this egg is appropriate for 1 week of incubation. As you move the flashlight up and down the side of the egg, you'll see that there's a shadow cast. If it casts any shadow, keep this egg. You can also see the air cell again. Even it's a little difficult to make out in this light. And that air cell is perfect for 1 week of incubation. In this egg, we see the embryo clearly moving. And when you turn the egg while candling, make sure and turn it slowly. And your hands have to have been washed. You can have no skin oils that could block the pores of the shell. Again, remember, any shadow, and you should keep the egg. You can see some vascular development in this one. Here's one where the light passes through consistently and there's no distinctive shadow. This one is probably not fertile to begin with, but it doesn't hurt anything to keep it until the 2nd week. But right now it's showing no development. I don't think anything will happen with this one. Slide the flashlight up and down the full height of it and slowly rotate the egg. And as you can see, there's no distinctive shadow being cast in this egg. This is what we call a dud.
In this one, you can actually see the embryo swimming around. See the movement? There it goes. Again, these are 1 week into development, and these are bantam eggs. He's very active in there. This flashlight also projects no heat into the egg whatsoever. Another one actively swimming. You can see it on the top of the egg. Very healthy, very active embryos. So even though we don't necessarily see the embryo moving, we see this shadow cast as we move the light up and down. That means this egg is developing. And if you look carefully, you can see the vascular system developing and drawing nutrients from the albumin. So again, you just take the flashlight, bring it right to the side of the egg, and it lights up the inside, and you pass the light up and down while slowly rotating the egg. Never spin the egg, because the contents will spin also and you can damage the embryo. And look at the air cell at the top right here and see that it's the proper size. This incubator is being run dry, and that's perfect because the moisture loss is just right for the amount of time it's been in incubation. And again, this is a fertile egg. Here's another one where we see the embryo moving around quite a bit. It's always exciting to see this kind of activity inside the egg. Now, if we saw this movement, but it was stuck consistently against the side of the egg, I'd be concerned then that the embryo was stuck and wouldn't hatch properly. Even though this is the first week of spring, it's still quite cold outside. In fact, today it's only 32 degrees. This pair of black and white magpie ducks are going for a swim in the pond, and you can see in the background that there's still ice over the majority of the surface. Ducks will go out in almost any weather. Chickens are a different story. They like to see that there's grass before they step out of the coop. They don't like the feeling of snow beneath their feet and will even fly over large patches of snow just to get to little spots of green grass. This batch of chickens has been raised together, and you'll notice that there's quite a disparity in sizes. There are bantams together with large standard single-comb Rhode Island Reds. One particular Rhode Island Red rooster has taken charge of this group and does provide them added protection when they're on open range. So long as they see grass, they'll go out no matter what the temperatures are. Those who raise free-ranging poultry as a hobby normally enjoy seeing wildlife around as well. Wildlife is beautiful, but for the free-range flock, may present some risks where diseases are concerned. Waterfowl specifically are known, due to their migratory patterns, to carry any number of infectious diseases. We need to do our part as backyard chicken enthusiasts to keep wild and domestic birds apart as much as possible. Wild birds should not be permitted to feed in domestic troughs. The practice of throwing feed on the ground is a bad idea, as both domestic and wildfowl will be drawn to it, causing increased exposure to wild bird droppings where most pathogens would exist.
As you can see, I've caught a possum in this live catch trap. It's made by Havahart and it doesn't injure the animal at all. I used the remains of a bird that he had killed 2 nights ago. He killed and partially fed upon one duck and then took the other completely away. So when you're trying to catch a predator like that, you need to make sure that you use a trap that doesn't harm the predator. And number 2, put it in the same location where the original attack occurred. That way you're 99% sure that you're going to get the same one. Once you've collected them, and in this case we have this possum, we're going to take him several miles away and release him again. It's summertime, so he won't have much of a problem adapting. Possums will also eat eggs and chickens if they can get to them. In general, the chickens are pretty safe because you've locked them up in your coop. And predators like this, raccoons, possums, weasels, and mink, can't generally gain access to a chicken coop, so they're pretty safe. Ducklings, unfortunately, are often out with their parents and they don't go into coops or buildings at night. So this guy's on his way back to a new location.
In this section, I'll be talking to you about how
the waste material from your chicken coops can benefit your gardens for vegetables. As you can see behind me, I have tomato plants, and we're in mid-July now, and their growth is already impressive. I don't use any industrial fertilizers at all, and I don't use any pesticides. I just take the material from the chicken coop as chicken droppings mixed with the pine wood shavings, that's a normal substrate there. Twice a year I remove it and put it on or mix it into the garden. In this case, you can see that I have pine shavings laying on top as a mulch, which helps prevent weed growth during the growing season. And each fall I lay a mulch layer over the top and turn it in the spring. Then after the plants have started and are germinated, then I go ahead and I take another layer of mulch from the chicken droppings and the wood shavings from the coops, and I use that again to prevent weed growth. So each year we're adding more organic material in the form of the wood shavings, and we're contributing a great fertilizer in the form of chicken droppings, which are already mixed in with the wood shavings. If you had droppings pits, for example, in your coop, and the chicken manure just accumulated in its pure form without being mixed in with any kind of substrate, it would be too strong for your plants. And if you put it on while it's still moist, for example, or less than a year old, it may in fact burn most of your plants. But plants that have a high demand for nitrogen in the soil benefit greatly from the use of chicken manure. This is my kale patch, which will be a tremendous benefit to the chickens later in the year. After the fall season, when other plants have gone by and already fallen to the early frost, plants like kale will still provide a great source of nutrition for the chickens, and at that time we'll remove all the fencing and allow the chickens free access to the garden to scratch and consume the remnants that are left over from the growing season. Here I'm using corn stalks as a support material for sweet pea growth. Again, in this garden, I don't use pine shavings or chicken waste as a mulch. It's all been amended into the soil in the early spring. Some people may say that that much nitrogen would be too hot for growth, but I think you can see here that it's done very well for the corn and for the sweet peas and things like that. If you're going to have a successful vegetable garden and you hope to have anything left, during the early growing season, you're going to have to keep the chickens out of it. You have two choices. You can either close off the chickens, or you can close off your garden and plants. I always close off the garden. When it comes to fencing off your vegetable gardens, my favorite material is good old-fashioned chicken wire. It's the least expensive of the fencing material, and it also comes in a variety of heights. In this case, I just use a 3-foot fence. I've found that if I had made this fence out of wood and it would be 3, 4, or even 5 feet high, the chickens would see that top rail, they'd fly up, land on the rail as a perch, and then they'd just go in and help themselves to your garden. If you keep it just as a chicken wire, with no defined top and no defined limits, I've found that the chickens are hesitant to actually fly over it. Now often you can't see chicken wire very well, which is exactly why it's great visually to people, but my dog, for example, would run into it, and sometimes the chicken wire sags between supports. So I have a solution that does two things for me. One, by putting in this driveway marker, which has a fiberglass shaft, I give rigidity to the fence because I weave it through the chicken wire and then stick it into the ground at the base. And also, my dog has a visual cue that there's a fence here, not to forget that you put it up. In this segment, what we're talking about is hatching naturally underneath a brood hen. Before you can go into something like that, you have to make sure that you have a hen who does nothing but sit in her nest box, coming out only for food and water, and then returning immediately to the nest box. Here I have a mille fleur hen who has gone broody. All she does is sit in her nest box all day long, and when I take her out to harvest eggs, I turn her loose and she goes to get food and water, and then marches right back and gets on the nest. A hen like this, that demonstrates these broody traits, is excellent for putting your eggs underneath. Now, what's important is, it really doesn't matter what kind of eggs you put under her. So if you don't want more mille fleurs in this example, we can take Rhode Island Reds, we can take Partridge Rocks. Whatever the breed is that you would like to have hatched and then mothered by a live hen, you can put those eggs underneath of her. It'll even hatch duck eggs if you wanted to. You don't want to put eggs in with her right away. What you want to do is make sure that a hen like this is serious about brooding. And if she sits on the nest day after day for a week or more, there's a good chance that she's really going to be suitable, and you can put eggs that are important to you, and she'll brood those eggs for you. We can't just leave her in the box, though. We have to set up a separate pen. It's important to keep her with the other chickens so that they all know one another. But other chickens shouldn't be able to get to her or disturb her while she's sitting on her nest of eggs. This dark Brahma hen is in the same situation. She also has been sitting in the nest box for more than a week and only gets off it just to eat and drink, complains a little bit and goes right back in, as you see the male fleurs doing. During a period when a hen has gone broody, we lose them from production. They no longer produce eggs. So all they want to do is sit and become a mother. To break this cycle naturally, we would just allow her to hatch a brood of eggs. Now, if they're serious about brooding, after you've picked them up and turned them loose again, they should go for food and water, or maybe even just right back on their nest after they complain a little bit. And it's important, as I've said, if you're going to take hens to brood eggs, you want to make sure, keep them in the same coop that they will ultimately be in, but segregate them by a wire closure. Right? Another thing to consider when selecting a chicken to set the eggs naturally is her physical size. This is a black-tailed Japanese bantam. She won't be able to sit on too many eggs because she's physically very small. The other thing you need to think about well in advance is once the eggs hatch, she'll have to defend them on open range when they mix with the other chickens. And the black-tailed Japanese is skittish and may run away from larger chickens, while the dark Brahma or the mille fleur would stand their ground and protect the chicks. Remember that when you're selecting a hen for broodiness, she should remain on her nest for extended periods of time, preferably an entire week, before you decide to put eggs under her. The other thing is that she should be immovable. When you stick your hand in the nest, she should react defensively by fluffing up and sometimes pecking at your hand, as this one did. They should not panic and flutter off the nest. If they were prone to do that, they would also jump off of their eggs if they were disturbed. It would not set through the entire 21-day period. So we need a good-sized bird with lots of feathers that would keep the eggs warm, and she needs to be able to hold her own and not leave her nest when disturbed or frightened. So this is a great broody hen, and this is a dark Brahma. One of the things you have to think about when your hen is going to be on eggs for 21 days in an enclosed area is that she may be bothered by things like the northern fowl mite. You have to have some means of controlling these parasites so that she won't be bothered. Setting hens are really vulnerable to an attack like that. One of the means that I use to control them is diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is a non-chemical means of controlling external parasites. It's fossil remains of diatom plants, which are single-celled plants. And what it is these parasites crawl over the diatomaceous earth and rub their skin on it. Microscopically, this is like a handful of razor blades. It lacerates their skin and then draws the moisture out, killing the parasite. I take this is freshwater diatom, and I mix it right in with the pine shavings, and I dish out the pine shavings so that the eggs will kind of remain in the center. Also, you want to make sure that you move your eggs and your hen right before sunset.